This gives us a chance then to make a very dogmatic statement. Jesus is the minister and servant of the new, not the old covenant. There are two covenants, not one covenant. There are two. The second is the new covenant. Jesus is the minister of that covenant. Paul himself, the minister of the new covenant. And in that new covenant, obligatory Saturday keeping is not part of the scheme. So the Pharisees took a very legalistic approach here, typically, see. They accused the disciples of breaking the law of the Sabbath. Jesus then answered that brilliantly. He says, listen, haven't you read the scriptures? Don't you know the scriptures? He turned them against themselves. What did David do when his companions were hungry? He entered the temple and ate the sacred bread. And that was unlawful. And even David, who is a picture of the new covenant, he lives, of course, before the new covenant, but he's picturing messianic things. And he was free to break the Old Testament temple laws in an emergency at least. And Jesus is greater than David. He's greater than the temple. Therefore, he tells us what you can do on the Sabbath. And he tells us through Paul in Colossians 2:16, 17, obligatory Saturday keeping is not part of the scheme. Don't let anybody try to tell you otherwise. Otherwise, you're going to go back under the old covenant of Moses. You don't want to do that. You're killing yourself. So this is a very big subject. Check it out. But Jesus is making a huge claim there to be superior to the law of Moses.
What's fascinating about this story to me is that when Jesus uses King David,
yes,
and the temple priests as justification. Interesting, because as far as I know, none of his apostles were from the house of David. So it's interesting. He uses David himself, the temple priests. And the other interesting thing about this that goes to the point of Christians who observe the Sabbath still, Jesus doesn't say, oh, no, they're not breaking the Sabbath. No, the way he answers says to me that he actually understands that they are breaking the Sabbath.
Yes, but he's the Lord. His whole new covenant teaching, he's the minister of the new covenant, is on a different level. The clear distinction is between the letter and the spirit. The letter of the law requires you to keep Saturday very strictly. The spirit of the law requires you to keep the Sabbath every day and rest in Jesus. He says, come to me and I'm your Sabbath. This is the difference in the two covenants.